What are your thoughts of breaking up via text message? My boyfriend has been giving me the silent treatment for over 2 days now, and I know he won't pick up the phone if I call. Hi, guys. Like the title says, what are your thoughts on doing this? Long story short, my boyfriend and I are in a LDR right now due to his work, and we've planned for months that he was going to come visit me for my birthday this weekend. We're only 3 hours away from each other. We have been together 8 months. We see each other at least 2 weekends a month, and I just saw him last weekend. He all of a sudden was being wishy-washy on coming up to celebrate my birthday with me and wouldn't commit to coming. This is the one day I feel he should want to spend with me. I spent his birthday with him a couple months ago, and I never would have heard the end of it had I not done so. I got upset and left his house early. I texted him to tell him I made it home safe on Monday, and he responded, and that was it. I didn't hear from him all day yesterday, so I called once and texted once and got no response. I haven't heard from him today either. He usually calls 3 to 4 times a day and texts quite a bit. This, however, is about the 3rd time he's given me the silent treatment. I'm over the emotional immaturity and childishness, especially for his big age, so I'm going to break up with him. He also tries to be controlling and has said that it's a red flag to him that I have a lot of friends, and got upset that I got off the phone with him one day because a friend was calling me. We had already talked on the phone 5 times that day. So, yeah, this is just a little bit of what I have been dealing with. Do you think texting would be okay in this instance? I can pretty much guarantee he won't answer my phone call, and I'm done chasing. Thank you. Update. I'm Bapayak. I still hadn't heard from him as of Thursday afternoon, so I went ahead and composed a breakup text and sent it to him yesterday. I basically told him that I would have preferred to not do this over text message, but he's given me no choice. I said that I'm tired of him giving me the silent treatment, I'm fed up with having to drive to him more than into me, and that the final straw was how he was going to ditch me on my birthday. I think I mentioned in a comment on my original post that he was still actively talking like he was coming to visit me last week, and within 2 hours of me getting to his place last Saturday, he ordered me a meal from Uber Eats and said that was my birthday meal. Not sure what changed in those few days, but it doesn't matter. I told him that I wasn't interested in a one-sided relationship where we can't communicate like adults, and to not bother reaching out to me again. He uses his phone for work, and I made sure to text him during work hours because he has his phone glued to him then. I waited an hour to see if he would respond, and he didn't, so I went ahead and blocked him. I was sad for a little bit, but what I mostly feel is a sense of relief. I feel like that picture of Nicole Kidman right after she divorced Tom Cruise. I'm a free elf. What's funny is that he was always telling me that the 2 most important parts of a relationship to him were communication and trust. There was one weekend in particular where he told me he was traveling to Green Bay for work and he wouldn't be able to hang out. I confirmed the dates with him a few times just to be sure. He called me a few days before his supposed Green Bay trip and asked me what day I was coming down to see him that weekend. I told him that he told me he was going to be in Green Bay, so I made other plans. He hung up the phone on me. That was the start of him accusing me of having too many friends and that my friends were a priority over him. I called him back an hour later, and he told me that if I hadn't called him back, he was never going to talk to me again. Apparently the trip got canceled, and I was supposed to be able to read minds, as he never mentioned that tiny little detail to me. His mom also thinks he drinks too much beer, and she had been getting on him about it recently. He got mad at her one day and told me he wasn't going to talk to her for a week. I am not the only person he does this stuff to. This is just how he is. He also came to visit me one weekend, and I didn't have the beer or coffee he liked. I got on DoorDash and ordered them for him as soon as he told me. I apologized for not having them. I just got back from a vacation in NYC and was tired, but the problem was solved within a half hour. He left on a Monday morning and waited until Monday evening to call me crying. Yes, he was actually crying about how I didn't have those things waiting for him before he got there and how I didn't care about him. Yikes. I can't believe I dealt with that for so long. Flushed face. Regardless, I got gifts and a cake from my coworkers, and I'm spending this weekend with my friends and family. I appreciate all of the comments and advice from you guys. Have a great weekend. Small update from OOP in comments of update post. Ha ha ha, he sent me a message request on Facebook today. I saw I had a notification from someone I'm not friends with, and it was from him. He said he hoped I had a great birthday and that he just needed a break from everything. I deleted the message and then promptly blocked him. Face with rolling eyes. Am I wrong for being blindsided by a friend's birthday dinner costing me $1,100? Birthday dinner for a friend costs $540 per person. My wife and I were invited to a major city to celebrate a friend's 40th. There were 2 days in the schedule, but we could only attend one because of my work schedule. We went to a fancy dinner and expected it to be over the top and expensive because it's their 40th birthday and they have high-paying jobs and like to splurge. We met everyone at dinner at a fancy restaurant and found out it was family-style 6-course meal. When the check came, our friend's wife put it all on her card and we assumed the bill would be split up afterwards. We knew it would be expensive, but we're okay with it. Went out for drinks after, slept at our hotel, and drove back the next day. Today our friend's wife messages us that the total, minus tax and gratuity, split between the 13 of us, was $540 per person. We figured on the high end we'd spend maybe half that for both of us. We really thought more like $300 total for both of us based on the quality of the food. I'm pretty offended that it wasn't communicated ahead of time that this meal was going to be a fucking mortgage payment. What do I do here? Edit 1. We expect to spend a lot of money going out with these friends. We have gone out several times where an evening costs us $250 to $300 per couple. But never anything like $1,100 just for dinner. Edit 2. Thanks everyone for the comments. This got a much bigger response than I thought it would. I want to respond to some common comments here. We truly did not expect the host to pay for dinner. Based on previous events/dinners with this group, we expected to pay for our own meal and drinks. When the bill came, the host, birthday boy's wife, grabbed the bill and paid it with her card. We were surprised that it looked like she was paying. But now, a couple days later, she is sending out bills to the couples for their portion of an even split of the dinner. It was not discussed that there would be only one check for the group. Some of our other friends who came with us and were in on all the same communications leading up to this dinner were also completely surprised by the total amount of the meal. If it matters, they are very well off and still got sticker shock. This is validating for me because they've been with us in this group for many dinners with this couple and also did not expect this outcome. They got a bill for both nights that totaled just shy of $2,000 for food and drinks on tabs that were paid, at the time, by the host couple. For those saying we should have asked ahead of time, I guess this is where I get hung up. We were anticipating a range based on many meals with this group, including birthday dinners. Why would we reach out to the host and ask this isn't going to cost us more than $1,000, is it, when every past experience was substantially lower, 60 to 70% less? We haven't asked for an itemized receipt yet, but looked up the cost of the family-style dinner per person. Based on what we ate/drank, our total would come to right around $700. To be honest, I would have been surprised by that amount, but we're being asked to pay $400 more than that, and I think, as many have pointed out, we are getting charged for others' wine choices. We will either just send that amount or ask for an itemized receipt, as many have recommended. I believe our next course is, as many have recommended, to pay for what we had and distance ourselves from these people or just never accept another invitation. Edit 3. My wife contacted the restaurant and it turns out that there is a minimum per person charge that works out to $530 after tax and gratuity for reservations the size of our group. This is $200 per person more than we consumed, and the host never told us about it, even when contacting us for payment. The host would have been aware prior to inviting us, because she would have had to agree to it for the size of group. The restaurant doesn't do reservations for that size party and has to make a special arrangements. Update. TLDR friends invited us out to dinner without disclosing it was a prefix dinner with a greater than $500 per person minimum. First off, if you're interested in the full story, please check the original post. We, my wife and I, wish we had done more research, of course. We didn't, because we've gone to plenty of expensive, to us, meals with this couple for anywhere from $100 to $300, with $300 being the absolute most we've ever spent, and have an expectation that our friends would communicate if something was going to be substantially different than what we're used to. Our mistake. The majority of comments mirrored our feelings that this minimum or even the average ticket price of the restaurant should have been communicated by the host ahead of time, and that this lack of communication is bizarre and pretty tacky. There were lots of comments saying we should have looked up the menu, etc., and obviously, in hindsight, we wish we had. But the reality is that even if we had looked at the menu, this was, unbeknownst to us, a special event, and our host had selected a prefix menu with a table minimum that they did not communicate to us or anyone else. Other guests in our group were just as surprised by the final amount. Many other comments said not to pay them at all, which I could not seriously consider. Even though I'm upset by the situation, I totally intended to pay our own way, just not to be stuck paying for other people's expensive tastes. Which is why we ended up texting the host that we were very surprised by the total price and asked to see a copy of the receipt. To her credit, she sent it right away. It confirmed the minimum price for the table and that others in the group had ordered very expensive wine and drinks that brought the overall bill up to and above the minimum. We added up our total, which, hilariously, comes to $666. So that's what we're sending them. Approximate $430 less than what they initially requested. Not sure where this leaves the friendship, but we won't be accepting dinner invitations anytime soon. My wife and I had a blast reading your responses and appreciate all of your perspectives. We'll be cooking dinner at home for a while.